6 months after the Galaxian surrender, Min-Ho Kang stood on the observation deck of the New Horizon, Earth's flagship diplomatic vessel. Through the vast viewport, he watched representatives from 28 Federation species board for the signing ceremony. The massive ship orbited a neutral space station where the new Federation charter would be ratified. "Nervous?" asked Ki-Ta Jong, Earth's defense coordinator, who joined him at the window. Min-Ho adjusted his formal uniform. "A little. Everything changes today." Below them, the ceremony hall had been prepared with care. Each species' cultural preferences had been considered in the seating arrangements, atmospheric settings, and diplomatic protocols. Gone was the old Federation hierarchy that had placed Galaxians at the top and relegated newcomers to the bottom. "Ambassador Min-Ho," a voice called. He turned to see Dr. Miktu approaching, the Galaxian scientist now serving as his species representative. "Doctor, welcome aboard," Min-Ho greeted him warmly. "Your ship is impressive," Miktu commented, looking around. "Though I notice the weapon systems are quite visible now." Min-Ho smiled. No more secrets between allies. The ceremony began with representatives from each world taking their places. The Galaxian delegation entered last, their once proud posture now subdued. Their new leader, Councillor Drek, had replaced the war-hungry Brevak after a peaceful transition of power. Min-Ho took the central podium. "Distinguished representatives, today marks a new beginning." The hall fell silent as he continued. "Humanity never wanted dominance, only respect," he explained. "Our ancestors fought countless wars so we could learn their cost. We value peace precisely because we excel at war." He activated a holographic display showing the new charter. "This agreement eliminates the tiered membership system. All species now have equal voting rights. Resource-sharing programs will ensure developing worlds receive the support they need, and Earth's defense forces will protect all member worlds equally." Councillor Drek stepped forward when invited. The Galaxian looked uncomfortable but determined. "The Galaxian Empire acknowledges its past aggression," he stated formally. "We accept the terms of the new charter and will work to rebuild trust with our fellow species." After the signing, Min-Ho found himself speaking with a group of Federation scientists. They marveled at the technological innovations humans had revealed since the conflict. "Your medical nanites are remarkably advanced," a Viridian researcher commented. "They could save millions of lives across the Federation. That's why we're sharing them freely," Min-Ho replied. "Our technology works better when it helps others." On the lower deck, Ki-Ta conducted military leaders on a tour of the ship's defense systems. The New Horizon served as both diplomatic vessel and protection force, capable of defending against any known threat. "Your ships combine elements from multiple species designs," a Tralaxian commander observed. "Yet they function better than our original versions." Ki-Ta nodded. "Humans have always been good at taking existing ideas and improving them. We see connections others miss." Later, in a private meeting room, representatives from formerly hostile species gathered with human military leaders. Admiral Dahyun displayed plans for joint defense systems. "These outposts will protect major trade routes from the Outer Rim raiders," he explained. "With your knowledge of local space and our defensive capabilities, we can end their attacks permanently." A former Galaxian general studied the plans. "You could have kept this technology for yourselves, used it to control us." "That would defeat the purpose," Dahyun replied. "We were never weak. We were exercising restraint. We don't want subjects. We want partners." As the day's events concluded, Min-Ho stood with Ki-Ta on the bridge, watching the assembled diplomatic ships prepare to depart. "Impossible." Councillor Ziv gasped as the holographic feeds showed the Galaxian armada falling to Earth's fleet. The emergency council session had been called as reports flooded in from across Federation space. Representatives from 32 species watched in stunned silence as the military might of the Galaxians, the Federation's strongest species, crumbled in a matter of hours. How did they hide such power? A Viridian representative whispered. They seemed so primitive. The council chamber doors slid open, and Professor Yun Ji-yoon entered. The human scientist walked calmly to the center platform, her simple gray uniform bearing no military insignia or rank. "You're wondering how we did it," she said, her voice soft, but carrying to every corner of the room. High Counselor Brevak, his purple scales pale with stress, leaned forward. "Was this your plan all along? Infiltrate the Federation with deception, then attack?" Yunji shook her head. "No. We genuinely hoped for peaceful cooperation. The attack on our outpost forced our hand." She activated the chamber's display system, showing images of Earth's history. "You misunderstood us from the beginning. Humans aren't docile. We're patient. Our history isn't just war. It's mastering the art of strategic deception." The images showed ancient battles where smaller forces defeated larger ones through clever tactics. Sun Tzu, one of our greatest military philosophers, taught us that all warfare is based on deception over 2,000 years ago. Counselor Mikta stepped forward. "I warned this council. I saw the patterns." "Yes," Yunji acknowledged. "You were more observant than most. That's why we invited you to Earth." "The technology," another counselor interrupted. "How did you advance so quickly?" Yunji's expression remained neutral. "We didn't. We already had much of it before first contact." Gasps echoed through the chamber. "Not as refined, perhaps, but the basics. We'd been preparing for extraterrestrial contact for centuries." She displayed images of human science fiction alongside actual Federation technology. "We imagined most of your devices long ago. When we saw the real versions, we simply improved upon what we already understood." Federation analysts rushed into the chamber, passing data tablets to their representatives. A senior intelligence officer addressed the council. "We've discovered human military bases hidden throughout Federation space," she reported, her voice shaking. "Those cultural centers they built. Concealed defense platforms. They're trading outposts. Forward operating bases with disguised weapon systems. They've had operational defense grids for years," another analyst added. "And their merchant ships can transform into warships in seconds." "But why the deception?" Brevak demanded. "Why not simply reveal your strength?" EMG sighed. "Would you have respected us then? Or would you have seen us as a threat to eliminate?" She displayed new images. The countless times Galaxians had bullied human representatives, restricted their colonies, and violated their territories. "We studied you while you thought you were studying us. We learned your weaknesses while you mocked our supposed primitive nature." The room fell silent as a final report was delivered to the council. "We found their contingency plans," a shaken intelligence officer announced. "They have detailed strategies to defeat every Federation species. Battle plans that account for our specific physiologies, homeworld environments, and military doctrines." Counselor Brevak slumped in his seat. "Why didn't they strike sooner? They could have conquered us months ago." Yunji smiled sadly. "Because we genuinely hoped for peace. We were being polite." She walked to a window overlooking the capital city. "Humanity doesn't want war. We never did. We simply prepared for it because our history taught us to be ready." "What happens now?" Miktu asked quietly. Before Yunji could answer, the chamber doors opened again. Admiral Da-hyun entered, flanked by two officers. The Federation representatives tensed, but the human officers carried no visible weapons. "The Galaxian fleet has surrendered," Da-hyun announced. "We've taken control of their military installations, but have harmed no civilians." "Are you here to conquer the Federation?" Brevak asked. Da-hyun shook his head. "No, we're here to reshape it." He activated a display showing human ships now protecting Federation trade routes and civilian centers. "As we speak, human forces are eliminating pirate bases and criminal organizations that the Federation has ignored for decades." "You're helping us?" a confused counselor asked. "We always intended to," Yunji explained. Humanity doesn't seek dominance. We seek partnership, but partnership requires respect. Admiral Dahyun stepped forward. We'll be proposing a new Federation charter, one based on mutual respect and genuine cooperation. As the council session adjourned, Miktu approached Yunji. I suspected humans were different, but even I underestimated you. Yunji smiled. A genuine smile this time, not the polite mask humans had worn for so long. That's the interesting thing about humans, Doctor. We're not just warriors. We're builders, explorers, and dreamers. We prepare for the worst while hoping for the best. And now, he asked, now we can finally show the galaxy who we really are. The explosion ripped through Outpost Epsilon in a blinding flash, vaporizing the research station's central dome. 300 human scientists and their families died instantly. The shockwave rippled across the small moon's surface, destroying habitat domes and life support systems. From the bridge of his command ship, Galaxian Admiral Krez watched with satisfaction as the human outpost crumbled. 6 Galaxian battlecruisers hovered in formation, weapons still glowing from the bombardment. Send the message to Federation headquarters, Krez ordered. Inform them we discovered and destroyed an illegal human weapons facility. His communications officer obeyed. Shall I include the evidence we planted, Admiral? Of course. The humans were clearly building restricted weapons. We merely enforced Federation regulations. On Earth, in the underground war room beneath Seoul, Fleet Admiral Dahyun Choi watched the live feed from Outpost Epsilon's surviving cameras. His face remained perfectly calm, but his hands gripped the edge of the table so tightly his knuckles turned white. 300 civilians, General Hyun Woo-yoon said quietly. They weren't even military personnel. They were studying atmospheric terraforming, Dahyun replied. No weapons, nothing dangerous. The room fell silent as more footage showed Galaxian landing parties moving through the ruins, planting objects among the debris. They're faking evidence, Intelligence Director Min Ji-kwon observed, creating a cover story. Dahyun straightened his uniform and looked at each person around the table. Is Operation Shadow complete? Yes, Admiral. Min Ji confirmed. Our assets are in position throughout Federation space. And the fleet, ready and waiting in the shadow bases, General Hyunwoo reported. 97% combat ready. Dahyun nodded once. Send the message. Across Federation space, thousands of human merchant vessels, tourist shuttles, and cultural exchange officers simultaneously received encrypted signals. On countless worlds, humans quietly excused themselves from social gatherings, ended business meetings early, and returned to their ships. In the Federation Council chamber, Ambassador Hejun Song stood calmly before the assembled representatives. The emergency session had been called after news of the Galaxian attack reached the capital. The evidence clearly shows the humans were building prohibited weapons, Admiral Krez insisted. We acted within our authority. Hejun waited for the Galaxian to finish. Then, without raising his voice, he said, the Galaxian fleet has 24 hours to withdraw from human space and surrender those responsible for the attack on Outpost Epsilon. Commander Thrax, now a senior council member, laughed loudly. Or what, primate? Hejun merely smiled. You'll see. Is this pathetic creature threatening the mighty Galaxian Empire? Thrax bellowed. Your species can barely reach your own moon without our technology. 24 hours, Hejun repeated, still smiling politely. Then he turned and walked out of the chamber. Back in his private office, Hejun contacted Earth. The message has been delivered, Admiral. They're not taking it seriously. Good, Dahyun replied. That will make this easier. Exactly 24 hours later, Admiral Krez stood proudly on his bridge as the deadline passed. See, the humans do nothing. They know their place. Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the ship. Admiral, multiple ships decloaking around us. Where there had been empty space, dozens of sleek, black vessels appeared, surrounding the Galaxian fleet. On his tactical display, Krez watched in horror as hundreds more human warships revealed themselves throughout Galaxian territory. "Impossible," he gasped. "Where did they get this technology?" The human vessels were unlike anything the Federation had seen before. Their hulls incorporated elements of various alien designs, but improved upon them in ways that shocked Galaxian engineers. Krez's communications officer looked up in panic. "Admiral, we're receiving reports from the homeworld. Human merchant ships in our orbits are transforming. They've deployed weapon systems on 1,000 Federation worlds." The truth became clear. The humble human trading vessels that had been visiting for months weren't what they seemed. Hidden beneath innocent exteriors were advanced military ships in disguise. Admiral Krez opened a channel to the human fleet. "This is a violation of Federation law. You have no right." The transmission was cut off as the first human vessel fired. Its beam sliced through the Galaxian flagship's shields, as if they weren't there. "Target their weapons and engines only," Admiral Dahian ordered from Earth Command. "Disable, don't destroy, unless absolutely necessary." The battle lasted less than 20 minutes. The Galaxian fleet, once considered the most powerful in the Federation, found itself completely outmatched by human technology they hadn't known existed. As his ship's systems failed around him, Admiral Krez received a transmission from a human captain. "This was just the first fleet," the human said calmly. "We have 2 more waiting if needed. Surrender now." Across Federation space, the same scene played out as human forces revealed their true strength. The galaxy watched in shock as the mighty Galaxians were brought to their knees in less than a day. In the council chamber, Thrax stared in disbelief at the reports flooding in. "How?" he whispered. "They were primitives." Ambassador Hejun approached him with the same polite smile he'd always worn. "No," he said quietly. "We were just being polite." 6 months after first contact, Dr. Miktu paced nervously in his lab aboard the Federation science vessel orbiting Earth. The small Galaxian scientist had spent weeks analyzing human behavior patterns, and what he found disturbed him deeply. "Computer, display human adaptation rate again," he requested. Holographic charts appeared, showing the speed at which humans were absorbing and implementing alien technology. The line rose at an angle far steeper than any other species in Federation records. Miktu's assistant, a tall Viridian named Lox, entered the lab. "The Council has agreed to hear your findings, Doctor, but only for 10 minutes. It may not be enough time," Miktu sighed, gathering his data tablets. In the Federation Council chamber on the capital world, High Counselor Brevak of the Galaxians lounged in his oversized chair. Representatives from 32 species filled the tiered seating, most looking bored as the small Galaxian took the speaking platform. "Esteemed council members," Miktu began, "I believe we have severely misjudged the humans." Scattered laughter echoed through the chamber. "The primitives who still use combustion engines," a Galaxian minister called out. Miktu activated his presentation. "Those primitives have adapted our Level 2 drive technology in just 5 months, a process that took the Galaxians 20 years. He displayed images of Earth's history. More concerning is their psychological profile. Humans evolved through constant warfare. Their entire civilization is built on conflict, adaptation, and survival against overwhelming odds." Another image appeared: ancient human warriors, modern soldiers, and finally, the smiling Earth ambassadors. "Notice the pattern," Miktu continued urgently. "Throughout their history, humans smile before they strike. Their diplomacy masks their true intentions. I believe their current politeness is strategic, not submissive." High Counselor Brevak waved a dismissive tentacle. "Their technology remains primitive. Their ships are fragile. Their weapons ineffective. Their resourcefulness is unprecedented," Miktu insisted. "They've survived thousands of wars among themselves. They've adapted to every environment on their planet. They—" "Time's up," Brevak interrupted. "The Council thanks you for this entertaining presentation. At the back of the chamber, Ta Woo Kim, Earth's military attaché, quietly recorded everything. His expression remained neutral, but his eyes missed nothing. Later that day, on Earth's orbital embassy, Ambassador Jai-Yun Kang received Ta Woo's report. "So Dr. Mick to suspects," she said, looking out at the blue-green planet below. "Yes, Ambassador. But the Council dismissed his concerns," Ta Woo replied. Jai-Yun nodded thoughtfully. "Send him an invitation to visit Earth. Scientists who pay attention should be appreciated." The next week, Federation patrol ships intercepted a human colony vessel attempting to establish an outpost on a mineral-rich moon in the Proxima Centauri system. "This area is now restricted," the Galaxian captain informed them. "Return to your homeworld immediately." The human captain, Sun Ho Lee, responded with a calm smile. "There must be some mistake. This moon was approved for colonization last month." "New regulations," the Galaxian replied. "The Galaxian Empire has claimed all moons in this system for mining operations." Sun Ho maintained his pleasant expression. "I see. We'll depart immediately." When the news reached Earth, Minister Soo-Min Lee called an emergency meeting with the Defense Council. "That's the third colony site they've taken from us this month," General Hyun Woo-yoon growled. "We should respond." "Not yet," Soo-Min cautioned. "How is Project Shadow progressing?" A scientist displayed holographic schematics of tiny devices. "The nanoprobes are ready. We can deploy them throughout Federation space within 3 months." "And the fleet?" Soo-Min asked. 60% complete," General Hyun-woo reported. "We need more time." 2 days later, Jai-Yun Kang stood perfectly still as Galaxian officials announced additional restrictions on human colonies at the Federation capital. "All human settlements must submit to weekly inspections," the Galaxian minister declared. "Any unauthorized technology will result in immediate colony dissolution." "We understand," Jai-Yun said with a serene smile that never reached her eyes. "But I must convey a message from Earth. We have been patient, but politeness has its limits." The Galaxians laughed, their mandibles clicking in mockery. None noticed how Jai-Yun's fingers tightened around her ceremonial pen. That evening, Dr. Mikta received a secure message from his research assistant. "Human vessels are visiting all major Federation worlds. They appear to be simple traders and tourists, but their movement patterns suggest systematic data gathering." Mikta tried once more to warn the Council, but was denied an audience. Meanwhile, beneath the Pacific Ocean on Earth, a massive underground facility hummed with activity. Engineers tested weapons systems designed to counter specific weaknesses in Galaxian battle cruisers. Training simulations prepared human pilots for combat against alien tactics. "The Galaxians believe they're teaching us our place," Soo-Min told her generals as they reviewed Earth's growing military strength. "But they're only teaching us their vulnerabilities." The Federation continued to ignore the warnings as human cultural exchanges spread throughout their worlds, always smiling, always polite, always watching and learning. Jin Ho Park adjusted his formal suit as the Earth shuttle approached the massive Federation vessel. Through the viewport, stars twinkled against the black void of space, dwarfed by the enormous purple-hulled ship that waited for humanity's first official delegation. "Remember," Jin Ho told his small team of diplomats, "no matter what they say or do, we smile and stay polite. Earth's future depends on it." The shuttle docked with a metallic clang. After a brief hiss of equalizing pressure, the doors slid open. Jin Ho led his team into a cavernous hangar bay where a delegation of aliens waited. The Galaxians stood nearly 3 meters tall, with purple-scaled skin and 4 arms. Their leader, Fleet Commander Thrax, looked down at the humans with obvious disdain, mandibles clicking in what Jin Ho's translator interpreted as amusement. "These are the representatives of Earth." Thrax's voice boomed through the translator. "Smaller than I expected." Jin Ho bowed respectfully. "Commander Thrax, we bring greetings from Earth. We are honored to meet the Galactic Federation." Thrax made a dismissive gesture with his upper right arm. Your species is remarkably underdeveloped. The Federation grants you probationary membership out of mercy alone. Jin Ho maintained his pleasant smile despite the insult. We are grateful for the opportunity to learn from such advanced civilizations. The humans were escorted through the ship to a conference room. Along the way, other Federation species stared at them with mixtures of curiosity and contempt. Jin Ho noted every detail, every technology, every potential threat, all while keeping his diplomatic mask firmly in place. During the conference, Federation representatives outlined the terms of Earth's probationary status. The conditions were harsh: limited travel rights, restricted access to technology, substantial resource tributes, and Federation oversight of Earth's military capabilities. Jin Ho accepted each term with a gracious nod. Earth understands and agrees to these conditions. Later, aboard Earth's orbital station, Defense Minister Su Min Lee watched recordings of the meeting with narrow eyes. Her office walls displayed surveillance footage of Federation ships moving through the outer solar system. They violated our outer boundary again, her aide, Captain Do Yoon, reported. That's the third time this week. Su Min sipped her tea calmly. Let them. For now, we remain polite. They're testing us, Do Yoon said. They think we're weak. Let them think that. Su Min turned to the large screen showing construction feeds carefully hidden on the far side of Mars. Massive shipyards were taking shape, and prototype vessels using reverse-engineered alien technology were already in testing phases. How long before the first fleet is ready? She asked. 2 years at current pace, Do Yoon replied. Faster if we get more Federation tech to study. Su Min nodded. Tell our ambassadors to request more educational exchanges. Say we're eager to learn about Federation engineering. The next day, Jin Ho met with representatives from 12 Federation species. The Galaxians dominated the conversation, repeatedly interrupting and belittling Earth's questions. Your primitive understanding amuses us, Thrax said when Jin Ho inquired about their faster-than-light drive systems. Perhaps in a few centuries, you'll grasp the basics. Jin Ho smiled and bowed. We are patient learners. A smaller alien, a Galaxian scientist named Dr. Miktu, watched the exchange with interest. After the meeting, he approached Jin Ho privately. Your people handle insults with unusual grace, Miktu said. Most new species react with anger or shame. Jin Ho's smile remained perfectly in place. Earth has many cultures with different virtues. Patience is one we value highly. I've studied your planet's transmissions, Miktu continued. Your history suggests otherwise. For just a moment, Jin Ho's smile faltered. Then he laughed lightly. History teaches valuable lessons. That's why we now prefer patience and diplomacy. That night, Jin Ho sent an encrypted message back to Earth. They're underestimating us. Continue the plan. 6 months passed. Federation ships regularly entered Earth's solar system without permission. Trade agreements heavily favored alien merchants. Humans traveling to Federation worlds faced discrimination and restrictions. Through it all, Earth's representatives maintained their polite, accommodating demeanor. They never complained. They never threatened. They simply smiled, bowed, and continued learning everything they could about Federation technology, military capabilities, and political structures. Behind Mars, out of sight of Federation observers, Earth's first battleships took shape. Built with knowledge gleaned from careful observation and quiet study, they incorporated design elements from a dozen alien civilizations, improved upon by engineers who had spent their lives preparing for this moment. We've waited this long, Su Min told her generals as they reviewed Earth's growing strength. We can wait a little longer. For now, we remain polite. From across the room, Ambassador Vrek watched with narrowed eyes. He whispered to an aide who quickly left the hall. Later that night, as the human delegation returned to their quarters, Minji approached Jun privately. Ambassador, during the incident, I noticed something strange. The assassins' movements seemed controlled, almost robotic, and just before they attacked, I saw Ambassador Vrek make a subtle hand gesture. June considered this information carefully. Keep that observation between us for now. We're guests here, and we need more evidence before making accusations. As June looked out at the stars, he couldn't shake the feeling that this was just the beginning. Humanity had entered the galactic stage, but not everyone was applauding their arrival. Retri's 6 months had passed since humanity's introduction to the Galactic Council. Human trading ships now traveled regularly between Earth and 7 friendly worlds. These early relationships had proven successful, with humans offering unique art, music, and agricultural methods in exchange for advanced technology. On the bridge of the trading vessel Golden Horizon, Captain Sunwoo watched the stars streak by. The ship carried a valuable cargo of earth wines and textiles bound for the Tellarite homeworld. "Captain, we're receiving a distress signal," reported his communications officer. Sunwoo frowned. "Source: New Eden Colony. They're under attack." The Golden Horizon changed course immediately. When they arrived at New Eden, they found destruction. The colony's orbital defense platforms were smoking ruins. Several buildings on the surface burned. The attackers had already fled. Governor Hyun Kim met them at the landing pad, her face streaked with ash. They came without warning. Claimed to be independent pirates, but their tactics were too organized. Sunwoo surveyed the damage. Casualties: 43 dead, over 100 injured. Hyun pointed to a fragment of the attacker's ship. "Our defense team managed to damage one vessel. We recovered this." The metal piece bore manufacturing marks that had been partially filed away. Sunwoo recognized the distinctive pattern of Vraxian military-grade alloy. Within days, a similar attack struck the human mining outpost on Vesper IV. This time, witnesses reported seeing ships that matched known Vraxian designs, though they flew no official flags. On Earth, the Global Defense Council convened an emergency session. Admiral Taiwan displayed holographic images of both attacks. "This is the second strike against human settlements this month," he stated firmly. "The evidence points to Vraxian involvement, though they've attempted to disguise their actions." President Jin looked troubled. "Have we brought this to the Galactic Council?" Ambassador Jun nodded. "I've filed formal complaints. The Council has expressed concern but claims they need more evidence before taking action. And while they deliberate, our people die," said Admiral Taiwan. "I recommend deploying the 4th Fleet to protect our colonies." The 4th Fleet was officially described to the galactic community as a modest defensive force. In reality, it contained some of Earth's most advanced warships, with capabilities humans had carefully kept hidden. 3 days later, as predicted, a larger force struck the human research station orbiting Proxima Centauri. But this time, Admiral Taiwan was waiting. The battle that followed shocked galactic observers. Human ships executed maneuvers considered impossible by Council tactical experts. They used the local star's radiation to mask their sensor signatures. They coordinated their attacks with precision that suggested either incredible training or some form of communication undetectable by standard means. Most surprising was their battle doctrine. When outnumbered, they didn't retreat or fight desperately. Instead, they divided the enemy forces, isolated smaller groups, and eliminated them efficiently before moving to the next target. The Vraxian ships, clearly not expecting serious resistance, were quickly outmatched. 5 were destroyed, and 3 retreated with significant damage. The human fleet suffered only minor injuries, and 1 damaged vessel. News of the battle spread quickly across Council space. On the Tellarite observation platform, 2 military analysts watched recordings of the human defense. "They fight differently," remarked one. "Not like conquerors seeking glory, but like survivors who cannot afford to lose." "Notice how they protect their damaged ship," said the other. "They value individual lives highly." Meanwhile, on the Vraxian homeworld, High Commander Drax summoned Ambassador Vrek to his chamber. As human ships rushed to reinforce New Terra, Ambassador June received troubling intelligence from a Tellarite contact. The Vraxians had mobilized their main battle fleet, and they weren't trying to hide it. The galaxy washed with growing tension. The next move in this dangerous game would reveal much about humanity's place among the stars. Morning sunlight gleamed on the buildings of New Terra's capital city. With 3 million residents, it was humanity's largest off-Earth settlement. Children played in parks while farmers tended vast fields outside the city limits. The colony represented humanity's proudest achievement in space. Defense operator Jinwoo sat in the monitoring station, scanning routine reports. A flash of movement on the long-range sensors caught his attention. He leaned forward, adjusting the settings. "Sir," he called to his supervisor. Multiple objects dropping out of FTL at the system edge. Within minutes, the colony's command center filled with personnel. Governor Seojin stared at the main display with growing horror. Hundreds of ships were appearing, forming a battle formation. Vraxian warships, confirmed the defense chief. At least 300 vessels, Dreadnought class leading. Seojin activated the emergency channel to Earth. "This is New Terra. We have a Vraxian fleet approaching. Numbers far exceed our defense capabilities." Admiral Ta-1 received the message in Earth's command center. His face remained calm, but his eyes hardened. "Deploy all available ships to New Terra immediately. Alert the Council that we are under attack." The first Vraxian ships entered New Terra's orbit before human reinforcements could arrive. Their weapons tore through the colony's defensive satellites like paper. On the surface, emergency sirens wailed as civilians rushed to underground shelters. In the Galactic Council chamber on Nexus Prime, Ambassador June stood before the 12 representatives. His voice echoed through the vast hall. "The Vraxian Empire has launched an unprovoked full-scale invasion against our colony of New Terra. Millions of civilian lives are at risk." The council members murmured among themselves. Some appeared genuinely shocked, while others seemed unsurprised. The Vraxian representative, a tall gray-skinned figure, spoke without rising. "We are merely responding to human aggression. Your species has demonstrated military capabilities far beyond what you disclosed. You attacked our settlements first," Jum countered. "We defended ourselves." The arbiter called for order. "The council must debate this matter according to ancient protocols." "While you debate, people die," Jum said, his voice tight with controlled anger. "Earth issues this ultimatum to the Vraxian Empire. Withdraw from New Terra immediately, or face the consequences." Laughter rippled from the Vraxian section. Their representative sneered. "Your species is young and naive. You cannot comprehend real war." Jum's reply was simple. "You have 24 hours. On New Terra, the situation grew desperate. Vraxian ground forces had landed in 3 locations. Colonial defense units fought bravely, but were quickly overwhelmed by superior numbers and technology. Governor Seojin coordinated evacuation efforts from an underground command center. "The northern district has fallen," reported a dust-covered officer. "They're moving toward the central city." A communications specialist looked up suddenly. "Governor, multiple FTL signatures detected. It's the Earth fleet." The human counteroffensive began exactly 24 hours after June's ultimatum. What emerged from FTL wasn't just the expected defense force. The full might of Earth's previously hidden military strength arrived in a precisely coordinated sequence. Captain Su Jin's vessel, Thunderstorm, led the vanguard. Her face remained composed as she issued orders. "Execute Thunderstorm Protocol. Target Vraxian command ships first." The human vessels moved with startling coordination. Rather than engaging in traditional formation combat, they dispersed into what appeared to be chaos. The Vraxian fleet, accustomed to enemies who fought according to established doctrines, struggled to respond effectively. What looked like tactical retreats by human ships became devastating traps. When Vraxian vessels pursued, they found themselves isolated and vulnerable to attacks from multiple directions. On the Council observation deck, military attaches from a dozen worlds watched the battle unfold with astonishment. "Their tactics make no sense," said a Tellarite officer. And yet they're winning, finished his Kizan colleague. The humans fight like they've faced extinction before. Indeed, humanity's long history of warfare had taught lessons unknown to many council species. Human ships targeted communication systems, creating confusion in the Vraxian chain of command. They used the planet's moon for gravitational assists that saved fuel and created unpredictable attack vectors. Most shocking was the human ground response. Troops dropped from orbit in specialized pods, landing behind Vraxian lines. These small units didn't attempt to hold territory. Instead, they disabled key equipment, rescued civilians, and vanished before counterattacks could form. After 3 days of fighting, the tide turned decisively. Vraxian forces began to withdraw from the surface. Their fleet, now reduced by nearly half, formed a defensive perimeter as they pulled back. Admiral Tadwan, watching from his command ship, received a priority message from Earth. President Jin's face appeared on screen. "The Council has finally voted to intervene," she said. "Too late to help, of course." "We didn't need their help," Tadwan replied. "But we may need their support for what comes next." "What do you mean?" The Admiral's expression was grave. "Our intelligence division has discovered something. The Vraxians aren't acting alone. Someone else is pulling the strings, someone the Council fears." As New Terra began rebuilding, the galaxy watched in stunned silence. The species they had welcomed as peaceful explorers had revealed themselves to be formidable warriors. And this was just the beginning. The victory at New Terra changed everything. Humans were no longer seen as newcomers to galactic politics, but as a major power. Other species now approach Earth's representatives with new respect, and in some cases, fear. In a secure room deep beneath Earth's Pacific Command Center, Intelligence Director Da Hyun displayed a holographic star map to President Jin and Admiral Tadwan. Red markers highlighted dozens of systems across Council space. These incidents seemed unrelated until we applied our pattern recognition systems, Da Hyun explained. "Look closer." The hologram zoomed in, showing data flowing between the red points. The Vraxians weren't acting alone. Their fleet movements, communications, even their battle tactics were being directed from elsewhere. "By whom?" President Jin asked. Da Hyun pressed a button, and an ancient symbol appeared, a spiraling pattern that looked almost like an eye. "The Shdarans." Admiral Tadwan shook his head. "That's impossible. The Shdarans went extinct 10,000 years ago. Every schoolchild knows that." "That's what the Council records claim," Da Hyun replied. "But we found references in data captured from Vraxian command ships. The Shdarans never died out. They've been hiding, influencing Council decisions from the shadows for centuries." This revelation stunned the leadership. The Shdarans were legendary, the first species to achieve interstellar travel, creators of the original Council. Historical records describe them as enlightened teachers who mysteriously vanished, leaving their student races to carry on their legacy. Earth dispatched secret diplomatic missions to two species who had shown friendliness, the Tellarites and Kizan. Both had harbored their own suspicions about Council politics for generations. On the Tellarite homeworld, Ambassador Jun met with High Speaker Morax in an underground chamber protected from surveillance. "Your findings confirm what we have suspected for centuries," Morax said, his voice low. "Council decisions often defied logic, benefiting no one, except perhaps hidden observers." The Kizan representative, Commander Ravak, joined via secure hologram. "My ancestors documented unexplained changes in Council members' behaviors. Sometimes a representative would argue passionately for one position, then suddenly reverse their stance overnight. Together, the three species formed an alliance. While Earth's military prepared for potential conflict, scientists from all three worlds shared research on the Shdarans. Research Director Yunjai led the human scientific team. After weeks of studying ancient texts and analyzing biological samples from various Council species, she made a breakthrough. "It's their control method," She explained to a joint meeting of alliance leaders. The Shidarans use a form of psychic technology. 43 dead, over 100 injured. Hyun pointed to a fragment of the attacker's ship. Our defense team managed to damage one vessel. We recovered this. The metal piece bore manufacturing marks that had been partially filed away. Sunwoo recognized the distinctive pattern of Vraxian military-grade alloy. Within days, a similar attack struck the human mining outpost on Vesper IV. This time, witnesses reported seeing ships that matched known Vraxian designs, though they flew no official flags. On Earth, the Global Defense Council convened an emergency session. Admiral Taiwan displayed holographic images of both attacks. This is the second strike against human settlements this month, he stated firmly. The evidence points to Vraxian involvement, though they've attempted to disguise their actions. President Jin looked troubled. Have we brought this to the Galactic Council? Ambassador Jun nodded. I've filed formal complaints. The Council has expressed concern but claims they need more evidence before taking action. And while they deliberate, our people die, said Admiral Taiwan. I recommend deploying the 4th Fleet to protect our colonies. The 4th Fleet was officially described to the galactic community as a modest defensive force. In reality, it contained some of Earth's most advanced warships, with capabilities humans had carefully kept hidden. 3 days later, as predicted, a larger force struck the human research station orbiting Proxima Centauri. But this time, Admiral Taiwan was waiting. The battle that followed shocked galactic observers. Human ships executed maneuvers considered impossible by Council tactical experts. They used the local star's radiation to mask their sensor signatures. They coordinated their attacks with precision that suggested either incredible training or some form of communication undetectable by standard means. Most surprising was their battle doctrine. When outnumbered, they didn't retreat or fight desperately. Instead, they divided the enemy forces, isolated smaller groups, and eliminated them efficiently before moving to the next target. The Vraxian ships, clearly not expecting serious resistance, were quickly outmatched. 5 were destroyed, and 3 retreated with significant damage. The human fleet suffered only minor injuries, and 1 damaged vessel. News of the battle spread quickly across Council space. On the Teleret observation platform, 2 military analysts watched recordings of the human defense. They fight differently, remarked one. Not like conquerors seeking glory, but like survivors who cannot afford to lose. Notice how they protect their damaged ship, said the other. They value individual lives highly. Meanwhile, on the Vraxian homeworld, High Commander Drax summoned Ambassador Vrek to his chamber. Your intelligence was flawed, Drax growled. These humans are not the simple newcomers you described. Vrek bowed low. They concealed their true capabilities. Great One. They presented themselves to the Council as peaceful explorers. Perhaps they truly wished for peace, mused Drax, but they clearly remember how to wage war. He activated a holographic star map. Begin preparations. If we cannot defeat them with small forces, we will overwhelm them with numbers. Back on Earth, Ambassador Jun worked tirelessly through diplomatic channels. In secured meetings with friendly Council representatives, he provided evidence of the Vraxian attacks while emphasizing humanity's desire for peaceful coexistence. Admiral Taiwan had different concerns. In the underground command center beneath Pacific City, he reviewed battle reports with his senior officers. The Vraxians tested us, he said. And now they know we're stronger than we appeared. Their next move will be more significant. Colonel Minho studied the tactical display. New Terra would be the logical target. It's our largest colony, but far enough from Earth that reinforcements would take time to arrive. Admiral Taiwan nodded grimly. Exactly. We need to strengthen their defenses immediately and position our forces accordingly.